Following amendment, the Secretary will read the amendment.
Floor amendment. Floor amendment 16 by Gutierrez.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Paul.
Senator Gutierrez, you're recognized on your amendment.
I have bad penmanship. I need to go back to school. Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this is a really simple amendment. And we had a back and forth with the author of the bill earlier how high school kids are getting college credits. We all know these kids are in our own communities, and they're getting 40 and 50 hours of college credits in high school. And so what this amendment does, it allows students at higher education institutions and in career-based schools to also be eligible and to apply to receive an ESA. Real simple as that. Gives priority to those students in receiving the ESA such that college and career tech students will receive funding before the K through 12. The reason this is important for our economy, the reason it's important for our schools, the reason it's important for our families at home is because we all know that the price of higher education has gotten to be so incredibly high and difficult to attain for working class families. And so these ESAs are going to give that young adult, that young child rather, an opportunity to be able to also take part in the ESAs such that they were already taking part in the ESAs in high school when they got 12 or 15 or 20 or 30 hours before. And it'll allow them to finish their high school or their career technical based schooling. And so that in essence is my amendment. Members, I think it's a darn good amendment. I hope it's acceptable to the author.
Chair recognizes Senator Creighton on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, we have not had this amendment presented to us up to now, and there are many different references to different sections in code. There are some very valid suggestions in the amendment, but at this time, we would prefer this be a separate bill, and for that reason, we would move to oppose the amendment.
Mr. President, will the author of the bill yield for a question?
Senator Gutierrez.
Will he
Yes.
yield? To
Senator Creighton, do you yield?
Sure.
For questions?
We'll yield.
Go ahead.
Senator Creighton, you said earlier that, well, and let's be clear, in the bill itself, in page 6, section 29, or line 29, it says that one of the payees is higher institutions of higher learning, correct? That's in the bill.
Yes.
Your committee is K through 16, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And all this does is it opens ESAs so that working class families will give their child, who's 18 or 19, the opportunity to continue their education at an institution of higher learning. And so it does nothing more to your bill than you were already anticipating. There's no definition in this bill one way or another what a child is. Do you understand all that?
I understand.
And so what's so complex about this amendment that you just don't understand? I mean, I don't get it. Maybe you can clarify your confusion here.
Senator Gutierrez already clarified. We just received it. There are some redeeming qualities and good suggestions in the amendment, as I mentioned. Apparently, you're not satisfied with that, but I'm moving to oppose the amendment because I haven't had time to digest all of the consequences. If we decide that it is worth pursuing as a separate bill, we'll set it early in the Education Committee and have a hearing over it. But at this time, I'm not exactly sure what the consequences are or what we may want to add to these provisions.
Mr. President, may I close on the amendment?
Not at this time. The question is on the adoption of floor amendment number 16. The Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton, Eckhart, Waters.
There being 11 ayes and 20 nays, the amendment fails. Following amendment, the Secretary will read the amendment.
Floor amendment 17 by Middleton and Creighton.
Senator Middleton, you're recognized on your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this is an amendment that is acceptable to the author, and what it does is it allows